So it's Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Yes, it is. It's Thanksgiving week, and with that is going to the movies a Thanksgiving thing for your? Thank you. Is that a Thanksgiving thing for your family?
It's not, but I feel like part of it is because I work here and I know how busy it is.
Yeah.
I think they don't need
You
to
just
wait
don't
on me
go?
too. Yeah.
Oh.
I wait till the less busy times for the most part.
I mean, there are people where it's like it's
Yes.
do the
It's the
dishes,
tradition.
go to the movies, which I don't know, maybe because we just watched the Lions lose as a family. I don't know, but I've always seen movies my entire life somewhere on this holiday break
During the weekend.
Yeah, this is I associate Thanksgiving with movies, which is why there are a truckload of movies
Yes.
coming out again this weekend, and we've seen some of these, not all of them, but we'll run through them. Most of these are wide releases, couple of limited releases. We'll let people know which ones those are. But first on the list is Creed 2. Mm-hmm. Did you like Creed 1?
Didn't see Creed 1.
No?
No, I've heard
Oh,
only
man.
good things, but
It's great.
I'm not that into sports movies. So I know there's more of a
Yeah.
story there. I like that Sly's in these.
Yeah, Sly. I like that you're calling Sylvester Stallone
Doesn't
Sly.
everybody call him that?
Well, only his inside circle, I'm sure.
Right, that's why.
Yeah,
Sly.
I liked Creed 1 a lot. The first one, again, it's one of those movies that I went in super skeptical and was like, I don't need another Rocky movie. I don't know. But Michael B. Jordan was great. And the first time they played the Rocky theme song
Yeah.
in Creed, which was not, they held on to it till later in the movie.
Okay.
The hair on the back of my neck stood up. So it like activated like little Eric as a kid watching
Okay.
Rocky emotions in me.
Nice.
So I'm more optimistic about Creed 2 than based off of the first one. I thought it was a great movie. There was somewhere they sort of went one for one with some of the originals, which didn't bother me.
Right.
But then it's telling its own story. So
Okay.
I think Michael B. Jordan is pretty fantastic. So I'm excited about it. Maybe a little more for the family here.
A little bit.
The sequel that I do think everyone was waiting for, if they weren't waiting for Creed 2, is Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yep.
Wreck-It Ralph 2.
It's hard to believe that the first one came out 6 years ago, because again,
Yeah.
that feels like it was probably 2 years ago.
That's like it feels like a long time ago.
Of course, John C. Reilly's back, Sarah Silverman. Wonder Woman, though, Gal Gadot is
Yep.
voicing one of the characters too, one of the main characters, and I don't think people can get enough of her. So I think that's great.
This movie is hilarious, and I loved it. And again, I liked the first one. I loved this one.
Okay.
Parts of this one in particular. In the trailer, there's the whole scene with the Disney princesses, which is pretty extended. And after we watched the movie, we talked to some people about it, and they said that they had actually added more Disney princess stuff to the movie. I think they realized like it was just gold. It's
on the
super
reaction.
self-deprecating.
Okay.
It's Disney making fun of itself
Yep.
for a few minutes in the middle of this movie. It's almost worth the price of admission just to go watch all of these characters. There's this really funny line where the girl from Brave, and they're like, they sort
Merida.
of dismiss her.
Oh.
Well, only because she's from a different studio, because she's a Pixar character.
Right, okay.
It's stuff like that where it's like, and the way they play that out with the internet, all these little Easter eggs, like if there's a lot there if you're really into memes and all that stuff.
Yep.
But if you're 80 years old and you're not paying attention to everything happening on the internet,
You're
this
still
is
gonna
just
enjoy
a
it.
great story.
Yeah, they had a joke about Kylo Ren in there too.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't get the permission. They didn't want that joke in there, so they pulled it.
They pulled it, yeah.
Which is kind of too bad.
That's too bad. I like it when Disney makes fun of itself.
Yeah.
So let's see here. Next movie, Robin Hood.
The trailer looked okay. I'm a little disappointed it's PG-13 because it's one that I would like to take my kids to, but I'm like really iffy about the violence.
Yeah.
And that's why I got the PG-13 rating. So I don't know. If it was just swear words, I'll forgive that, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
and this is
conservative with the violence.
This is a take too where like, my concern is that it will land somewhere in the middle, right? Like either make it, like you said, PG, super accessible, let's go have fun with this Robin Hood character, or maybe like swing it all the way the other way and just go for it and have it be lots of arrows shooting through people and all that stuff. It could just, which is a different audience.
For sure.
But if you're going to land in between, I don't know. Jamie Foxx is in this, which is, I think it's a cool casting, but either they're doing something really smart and new with this story that we are all sort of familiar with, which is how they've kind of put it out there. But I worry a little bit about this one being with other things out there, people just being like, nah, whatever. And maybe I'm just projecting myself, but that's that. Okay, so those are all wide releases. 2 limited releases. One, just playing in here in Grand Rapids. So I think it's all of our Grand Rapids locations plus Lansing.
Yes.
And I know these release patterns are confusing to people. We'll explain that to them someday.
As best we can.
As best we can. But it's just our Grand Rapids locations in Lansing, and it's called Green Book. And you got to see it.
I did.
What did you think?
I really liked it. I thought Viggo Mortensen did a really great job. The guy who plays the pianist, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he was phenomenal. I don't know what else he's been
Mahershala?
in. Yes.
Is that, yes.
And then
he's Remy in, is it House of Cards? Yeah. He's Remy in House of Cards. That's how I know him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Linda Cardellini was really fantastic. Her part wasn't great, but I thought she was phenomenal.
What's like the gist of this? I don't know a ton
apparently
about this movie.
back in the 50s and the 60s, African Americans had these books called the Green Book, Vacation Without Aggravation, and it listed all of the places that were African American friendly. So if they were traveling, it was a place that they could feel safe stopping, whether it was to eat or stay in a hotel or get gas or whatever. So
it can just to pause for a moment and like the fact that that's even a real thing.
I know, and I had no idea until this movie came out. I did not know that even existed. But so the pianist, who is from Jamaica, needs a white person to be his chauffeur and kind of like his bodyguard too. So Viggo Mortensen's character is an Italian American, middle class. He's kind of down on his luck because he's got a really severe temper and he ends up like beating everybody up if he doesn't agree with them. He's also a racist. So they recommend that he becomes the driver, and they form this unlikely friendship. And it's great. I mean, it doesn't feel too heavy-handed. So, and also, I realized it's over 2 hours, and it didn't feel like it. It's one of those movies that you just sort of sink into.
Which is tough to do. I mean, over 2 hours, you got to be telling a pretty great story to keep people from checking their watches a bunch. So,
and the director, I think, is surprising too. Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly Brothers, who did like Stuck on You.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Really like
rom-com almost.
Yep. Slapstick comedy. So it was interesting to see him do something completely different.
Oh, that's cool. That's good. I didn't know much about that. And then one more, just opening at Rivertown in Grand Rapids and at Celebration Cinema Lansing is The Front Runner, the Hugh Jackman movie that follows the story of Gary Hart. And we both got to see this movie. And you were lukewarm?
I thought based on the trailer it was going to be much slicker, sort of a faster paced movie. It's Jason Reitman, so I was thinking like, thank you for smoking, along those lines. But it had a sort of a, I don't know, just a slower pace to it. And I thought the most interesting thing was comparing some of the stuff that happened, I think this happened in like 83, 84, to...
88.
Maybe. We'll fact check that later. But comparing the things that happened in this saga to things that happen more like recent, it's just weird.
Well, right. Okay. So
things that were not forgivable that maybe would be now.
Yes. So that's why I think this is why I really like the experience of watching this movie. And in some ways it's like, okay, politician who, can't keep it in his pants, gets caught in a scandal, whatever, like we've heard the story 1,000 times. This isn't interesting. Why you talk to me about this?
Right.
The only reason I think this is so compelling is he was sort of the front, like he was one of the first people to really kind of pay for his moral failing, if you will, if you want to call it that, right? And now we're in a place where that was amping up. And now we're living in the moment we are politically, where
Right.
none of those things seem to really matter
Yep.
to at least the majority, the voting majority. That's where I just sat in the theater and I was like, this is a fascinating moment to be told this story, and that would be my defense of it. Is it the most amazing filmmaking ever? No, probably not. But I think I'm really glad that this movie exists right now. I hope people see it. I think Hugh Jackman was really great in the movie.
He was great.
So I'm into this. I'm glad this is in the mix with everything else going on that the front runners out there. Is it going to be the front runner of the box office?
No,
but
I always
it's
like
good.
too when they can capture the decade with the clothes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They did a really
Yeah.
good job with that. There's a couple bar scenes at the very beginning that I was like, okay, not that I was in a bar in 1983,
Yeah.
84, 88, whatever,
Yeah,
but I
Yeah.
imagine that's exactly
the
what it
production
looked like.
design's pretty
Yes.
right on. Yes. So normally we would talk now about what's closing, but the reality of this cycle is that there's really not anything closing for a week or two. So we'll be back before there's really anything leaving any of our theaters.
Yep.
So we don't have to cover what's leaving because it's all hanging on for a couple weeks for the most part. So you got one movie. What you gonna see this Thanksgiving? What you gonna hit with the fam? Go by yourself to get away from the fam.
It'll probably be with the fam. We'll see. Ralph Breaks the Internet. If I can sneak away without the kids, it's going to be Boy Erased.
All right. Yes. Good pick. You really piqued my interest with Green Book. I just didn't know about that kind of cultural reality
Yeah.
that I am blind to.
Right.
And I love those movies. I love when a movie can give me eyes into something that I'm otherwise blind to. So if I can, non-fam, I'm probably going to the Green Book. Otherwise, Wreck-It Ralph, of course. I'd
For the
go see
second
that
time.
again. Totally. Yeah, it's great. All right, well, enjoy the turkey.
You too.
All right.